All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Live from Currituck Extension. Cameron Lowe here, your County Extension Director in Currituck. And joining me today, I am so excited to see face-to-face my good friend, Sherry Fischelschwager. So, Sherry, I'll turn it over to you, let you introduce yourself, and take us through the program today.
Good morning. As Cameron said, my name is Sherry Fischelschwager, and I'm Currituck County's 4-H agent. Primarily, what I'm responsible for doing is ensuring that there are activities and experiences surrounding leadership, citizenship, and life skills that our youth in Currituck have the opportunity to participate in, and then that will help them become contributing citizens to our community and our state. That is primarily the job of all of our staff members, the 3 4-H PAs and myself. On today's live episode, I am going to outline a fun and engaging STEM activity that everyone in the family can enjoy. These are activities that can be done in your home with little outlay for resources, because you will have most of them in your home. And it's called the Cricket Wicket Engineering Challenge. It's a relatively simple challenge, and it's a great opportunity for kids of all ages and adults to learn about simple machines, levers, energy, and motion. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our channel and click the bell to receive notifications. And in this way, that will allow you to know when we post new videos, when we go live, and if you have the opportunity to ask questions during our class while we're live, just type them in the chat window and we'll answer them as we go. And if you're watching our recording and you have questions, just email us or call us. Our information can be found in the description below. Okay, so the Cricket Wicket Challenge is a great activity, as I said earlier. One of the reasons it is a great activity is most of the materials can be found in your home already. Some of them are recycled materials, some of them are craft materials, and just with the exception of the ping pong ball itself that will plays a key role, most of the rest of these things you may already have in your house. The objective of this is to take these materials that you see on the slide and build a launcher that can launch a ping pong ball and knock an eraser off the wicket, which is the target, which is made from 2 pencils in a cup held up by clay. To make it more challenging, you can see how many times you can knock the eraser down in a set period of time, like 3 minutes. And we'll talk about that later on in the video. As you can see, these are the materials. 1 piece of cardboard, 12 by 12 is max, 2-ounce plastic cups, wooden craft sticks, wooden pencils, your regularly everyday usable pencil that you'll have in your house, paper. One caveat here is it needs to be printer or copier paper, not construction or cardstock. Rubber bands, cardboard tubes, your paper towel rolls and toilet paper rolls, clear adhesive tape, scotch tape, 500 inches, duct tape 90 feet. That's a lot of tape that you're allowed to use in this. So you may want to supervise if you have younger ones. These are the only materials that should be used in the challenge. As you can see on the previous slide, there was a maximum number of each that you can use. So what you want to do with your child is have them draw out a design before they actually start building, so they don't use up their materials before they actually have the launcher that they dream of having. A couple of notes about those materials. It's an at-home challenge that you can do with your family, so don't worry if you don't have the exact item. If you only have 3-ounce Dixie cups in your home, then use a 3-ounce Dixie cup. And that's what most people have. Don't go out and buy 2-ounce for the challenge. You can cut the 3-ounce back a little bit to make it closer to 2-ounce, but if that's what you have, use what you have. Same thing with the rubber bands. You may have rubber bands and not know that it's a number 32 rubber band. Just get as close as possible to the measurements. I had the correct length, but mine were 1/4 inch wide instead of 1/8 inch. So I used those. I didn't go try to find those regular number 32 rubber bands. They make it work for what you have in your home. I would say you don't want to go any less in thickness than 1/8 of an inch because you won't get the elasticity that you need from the rubber band. Okay, so that is the materials for this challenge. And you can see in the picture I've laid out every material there is, and it's not a lot. What the kids can come up with using these materials will be amazing, I think. There are rules and guidelines to every challenge, and this one is no different. And we actually have 2 sets of rules, one regarding the build and one regarding the challenge. So I'll go through both of them. They're with regards to the build, pretty basic. You can only use the materials that are on the materials list. Previous adjustments that I talked about notwithstanding. If you choose to use a 3-ounce cup, then that's your approved material. So that's fine. The launchers, when they use finish making them, need to be freestanding. They can't require that a person hold them to make them work, or they can't require being taped down to a hard surface. So it has to be freestanding and ready to launch the ball. The launching action itself, it has to be a launch. You can't be you setting the ping pong ball on the launcher and then flicking it with your finger or tossing it with the back of your hand. So you need to make your launcher so that it holds the ball in place, and then you use either a lever action or the stretching of a rubber band to launch the ball. So that's it with regards to building the launcher. Now, when we get to the challenge rules, because it's no fun to build a launcher if you're not actually going to try to achieve something with it. So then we have the challenge rules. The wicket, which is the target, which is the 2 pencils that you see here, needs to be built like this. 2 pencils in a Dixie cup. I'm using modeling clay to hold that in place. You could use a ball of duct tape. I actually tried that to see if it would work, and it will. If you don't have clay or you don't have something you can put in there to hold those pencils upright and straight, use some of the duct tape, and you can ball it up with the sticky side on the outside of the ball, and it'll hold those pencils right there. And you set the regular eraser. As you can see, my eraser has been used. I did not go get a new eraser for this challenge. And that's your target. Then the wicket must be placed upright at least 1 foot, as you can see here in the diagram, from a wall or any other hard surface that would cause the ping pong ball to bounce back. Ping pong balls bounce quite a bit actually when you drop them. So your target needs to be at least 1 foot from any surface and that includes people that will cause the ball to bounce backwards or around the target. When you actually attempt this challenge, your launcher needs to be 2 feet, at least 2 feet away from the target, which is the wicket. You can have up to 4 people helping you if you want to put some parameters on your target. You can have somebody else collect the ball after you fired it and put it back on your launcher. You can have somebody else keep score. And you can have somebody there to reset it if you keep hitting it. This is if you really want to try and see how many times you can knock it down in a 3-minute time period, and that's usually the set challenge time. I did it by myself, and I ended up hitting the target 38 times in the 3 minutes, but I was having to collect the ball and put it back on my launcher and reset the wicket. So if you really want to see how many times your launcher can achieve the task, get somebody to help you with it. During the challenge, you do not have to hit the eraser. You just have to hit the target. So if you hit the cup and it falls over and drops the eraser, then that counts as a hit. If you hit the pencils and it falls off, that counts as a hit. You just have to hit the target and knock the eraser down. Several times I hit the cup and it didn't knock anything down. So the objective was to drop the eraser from the top of the pencils. Whatever part of the target you hit to accomplish that, that's fine. And then, as I said, the challenge itself has a 3-minute time limit, and then that is how many times you can knock the eraser off in 3 minutes. Okay, so you know the rules for building and you know the rules for launching. Now the build. I built a very simple slingshot type launcher just so that I could test out the material, how to use the materials, and how the challenge would actually work. You can build whatever kind of launcher you want. It could be a catapult time that actually uses a cup to catapult the ball into the target. Or I saw an example online where somebody used the paper towel rolls and made like a rocket launcher that actually launched the ball through the tube and out towards the target. So the sky is the limit. Be creative as you want to be using the resources you have. This took me about an hour, mostly because I designed it. I drew it out on paper what I wanted, started building it, tested it, and it did not have enough strength to continuously launch the ball. So I had to go back and make a few adjustments. So I ended up adding pencils to my design that I had originally not planned to using. And I added the 2-ounce cup because I needed to have a little more height for the ball. What I want to talk about here is during this process, if your child comes up with a design, builds a design, tests the design, and then makes adjustments, what they've done is put the engineering design process into play. So they've learned something even though they're having fun and building, because they've designed something, they've tested that design, and then made adjustments to that design and tried again. And this is an important skill for them to be able to do as they move through life and need to problem solve. This gives them a way to do that. So that was my build. As you can see, I put a couple of different pictures from different angles. I used a lot of duct tape, as you can see. But I also ended up using all of the rubber bands, which I had not intended to use. But I needed, these are odd shaped items that you're using, and I couldn't get them to stay together with enough pressure. So I rubber banded them together, and then they worked just fine. So this is the launcher that I used in the challenge that I built here. So then there's the challenge. How many times can you hit the target? And then in this little video, I'll describe the playing field and the actual process of launching the ping pong ball.
So on the table here in front of me, I've laid out a course so that I can identify all the parts and pieces of the challenge course or playing field using the rules that were provided that we talked about earlier. So I have a background here that is at least 12 inches away. In this case, it's 15 inches from the wicket. I have the wicket, and then I have my launcher design. I created a small little slingshot design launcher so that I could show it as an example on how you can do this challenge. You can create whatever you want using the materials we provide. So you could make yours like a catapult, or you could make yours like a rocket launcher and fire the ball right out of one of those cardboard tools. It's whatever you would like to put into your launcher design. The goal, remember, is how many times can you knock the eraser from the wicket in a 3-minute time period. So I'm not going to do this for 3 minutes in this particular video, but I did do it for 3 minutes earlier, and I'll talk about the scores later, the scoring process. So I've set up my compact little playing field with a background, the wicket, and my launcher, and I'm going to move right around here and fire the launcher. Remember that to fire the launcher, you can't throw the ball. Your design actually has to launch the ball at the wicket like that. And you can collect the ball up during your 3 minutes and keep going as many times as you can go. You can have somebody collect the ball for you and do it again so you don't use as much time. See if I can actually hit the wicket during this video. Doesn't look like it. But you keep going, you keep practicing. Maybe you want to make a modification to your design. Remember, you don't have to hit the eraser. All you have to do is knock it off. So you might hit the pencils, you might hit the cup. That's normally what I do, is I hit the pencils usually. Like that. So, and we're going to stop with that particular hit. But that is the challenge itself. You can do it by yourself and just see how many times you can knock it off in 3 minutes. Or you can get with a teammate, a brother or sister or a friend, and you guys both make a different design and then have a contest to see how many times you can do it. And that is the Cricket Wicket Challenge.
Fairly simple, in thought anyway. And that's the challenge itself. Now, once a young person has mastered that basic challenge, or if you have older youth in your house that might like to try this out, we can add an element that will increase the level of the challenge, not in difficulty, but in the process in which they construct their launcher. So what we've done here is we've added a cost to each material, so that they have to account for the cost of what their design took to make. So what you would do is look at those costs, decide what you wanted to do, put it in your design, and then once you have a launcher that you're satisfied with and you're happy with and you want to do the test with, you add up the cost of the materials used to produce that launcher. So you can see on this next chart here, I actually listed the materials I used in my design. And as I said earlier, I only used the cardboard, the craft sticks, and the pencils, rubber bands, and duct tape. So I listed how many of each of those I used, the cost for each of those, and then basic multiplication, how much was the total cost for each of those items, and then my total cost to build my launcher. So as you can see on this chart, my launcher cost 55 units to produce. So that second line there is the formula for how you determine your final score from the challenge, which is the number of hits you have times 100 in the 3 minutes minus your materials cost. So that's your total score. So I knocked the ball down 38 times. That was 3,800 minus the 55 that it cost me to build my launcher. So my final score is 3745. Feel like I could do better with that. And I would probably, if I was doing this with a group of young people, I would make adjustments to my own, which is okay. I did that rocket launcher that I told you that I saw online. That young man, who could not have been more than 10 or 11, had a score of 9,800 and something. because he was able to aim that launcher the way he built it. And he had a fairly high materials cost, and he had to think that through. But because he was able to aim, the fact that his materials were, I think, over 100 points for his materials cost, that worked out for him anyway. So he had the highest points of anybody that I had seen that had done this challenge. You can add all kinds of components to it, and to make it more difficult or to make it more challenging, or you can just do it as a fun little activity with the young members of your household. I got this activity from Science Buddies, who's opened up a lot of their educational STEM activities to anybody that wants to utilize them, particularly during this COVID-19 time of our lives. So you can visit that site, you can see more about this challenge, and you can see some other challenges that you may want to try with the kids in your home. And I've included that link so that you can visit it. And that's it for today. Version of Live from Curry Tech Extension. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me.
Hey, Sherry, I've got one.
Okay.
So you said that so there was cost figure with your materials, but that's really a point value, right? Not actual materials cost.
That is correct. You just assign points to equate to a materials cost.
Got it.
At not dollars so much, but these are how many points it's going to cost you off your final score to use this material in the challenge.
So that's pretty cool. Gets the young folks thinking about budgeting too.
And it also gets them they have to do math, which I did a couple of times because I thought about adding something else and I was like, nope, I have it built. This is my cost. It's pretty good cost. But I thought I would hit that target more than 38 times too. So there's a lot of little lessons that they would learn and practice that they weren't necessarily feel like they were being taught formally while they're doing this challenge.
Very cool.
So if you have any questions, like I said, feel free to contact us. Our contact information is in this listed below in the description. Make sure you subscribe and click the bell so you can read notifications on future live from Curry Tech Extension videos. Check our social media sites, and we do have an evaluation. That's very important. If you wouldn't mind completing that, it helps us in formulation of other classes and other topics that we can potentially bring to the public through this format. Monday's class is our next Live from Curry Tech extension, and it will be a question and answer session with our 4-H program assistant, Tom Harrell, and our county extension director, Cameron Lowe. And it will be based on, it's an equine science question and answer and horse husbandry. So we look forward to seeing you and tune in next Monday at 11:30.
Good to see you, Sherry. Have a great weekend, everybody.